All right, call meeting order, 4:30. Roll call. Bob, you want to start us?
Yeah, Bacon present.
Sarji Chaudhary, present.
Zalid, present.
Keekwan present.
Milky present.
Coin present.
Mark present. Hearing, seeing a quorum present. Let's do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, I talked to him, he said he wasn't gonna make it. I was selling him tickets. Oh, I called.
Let's move on to agenda item number 4, approval of tonight's agenda. How's that looking to everybody?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Milky, support by Coin to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the agenda is approved. Let's go on to item 5, approval of meeting minutes, starting with January 21st. Regular meeting minutes.
Need a motion?
Yep.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion by Bars, support by Zalid to approve the January 21st, 2025 meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the minutes are approved. And February 18th, had no quorum.
Move to approve the February 18th, 2025 minutes.
I second it.
Got a motion by Melky,
Second by
support by Chowdhury. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the minutes are approved. And the March 18th meeting was also canceled. So moving on to item 6, presentations. I've got the Middle Michigan Development Corporation annual report. Want to introduce yourself and for the record?
Great. Thank you. My name is Katie Mora. I serve as President and CEO for Middle Michigan Development Corporation, and it's an honor to be here with you all this evening. I'm sure that many of you had the opportunity to work with Jim McBride, our past President and CEO. He unfortunately had passed away at the end of 2024. And so this year, our board named me President and CEO. And so I'll be hopefully a familiar face to you all as we move into this year and beyond. Our annual report, right on the front cover, you'll see a photo with Jim McBride. He had worked on this annual report with us, and so we were really excited to be able to highlight and do a nice tribute to him both at the beginning and end of this year's annual report. And I thought this evening I would walk us through the annual report and just point out a few different aspects of it, and I can take questions at the end of my presentation as well. But at the very beginning of the annual report, when you turn it to that very first page, you'll see a note from myself and my team. Again, typically with our annual reports from the previous year, the president will have a nice introductory letter. This was something that Jim unfortunately was not able to do, and so our team helped to finalize that on his behalf. But there on page 1 on the front cover, you'll see our updated strategic plan for 2025 and 2027. This looks the same as the one we had previously. After we reviewed the one we had for the 3 years prior, we recognized that the key tenets of our organization were still what we wanted to focus on. Talent and entrepreneurship had been added, and those are key areas for us that we're continuing to focus on in 2025 through 2027. Our mission at Middle Michigan Development Corporation really is to help grow the economy for the communities that we serve in a 3-county area. Last year in 2024, we also had Gladwin County included, but for this year and beyond, we are covering Clare, Isabella, and Osceola counties. And so you'll see that reflected in our mission and vision. And we do this in a variety of ways, but primarily through our focused attention on business retention and growth, working with businesses and companies that are currently in existence across the 3 different counties. And then through business attraction, looking to bring businesses to the area that are a good fit for the communities that we serve. And then for those businesses that decide to come here, we work with them as well to make sure that they are able to do so and do so in a way that allows them to be a good neighbor. And then community development, so working with municipal partners such as yours and really looking at how do we make sure we have a high quality of life and amenities offered to those who decide to live here in our communities. And so this is what our strategic plan continues to help us to stay focused on. And everything that we move forward with, we really make sure that it fits within this particular strategic plan. If you turn to page 3, you'll see our local impact for 2024, and this is including all of the counties that we served this last year. Of particular note, I think it's really key to notice that in addition to the number of overall company visits, we also had a significant number of company assists. So company assists are essentially any sort of assistance we provide to a company, whether that's helping them to get connected with one of our state partners like MDART or EAGLE. It might be helping them to facilitate some grant applications. It might be working through some paperwork that the municipal they're located within needs them to fill out. It can be a variety of things. But anytime that myself or a member of our team are working with a business in that capacity, we try to track that so that when we do these types of reports, you can see that it's not just us going in and saying hello, but it's us actively looking for challenges we can help address and then opportunities that we can help address. When we do visits within Union Township, we are going with Rodney. Rodney's joining us. Rodney is a great partner of ours, and so we make sure that we do that collaboratively and work together to support the businesses within our communities. Also at this point, I've been appointed to most of the committees across the state that Jim McBride had served on, and so we are continuing to keep our presence across the state, both at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and their Collaborative Development Council, the Michigan Economic Developers Association, I'm sitting on their board, and then the Small Business Development Center's board as well for the state. I'm serving as an advisory, in an advisory role there as well. So continuing to make sure that our area is represented at that state level. Okay, I'm going to move us a little bit further into the annual report. I'm going to take us to page 13. So I had mentioned that one of the areas of focus for us that we had added during our last strategic plan update was talent. And so one of the key events that we do for talent is our Coming Home event. And we continue to do this every year. This is an event where we partner with our local education partners, including CMU and Mid-Michigan College. And we invite graduating students and returning alumni to meet with employers from across the region that we serve. And they get an opportunity to hear about both job opportunities and then reasons why this is a great place to call home. This picture that is featured on page 13 and 14 are our 40 under 40 emerging leaders. And this has been a fantastic development through Coming Home. It started as an opportunity to highlight that we do have young professionals who stay in the area, but now we will be spinning off its own event and continuing to look for people who live across our communities to highlight. There's a quote down on the right-hand side of the page from Tina McCormick. She's the CEO and founder of eTax Solutions. Her business is located within Union Township. She participates every year, and it's been a great way for her to hire new individuals to work with her business, which continues to grow and to thrive. Up next, if we go over to page 21, we like to highlight some of our community wins, and so here we do have some community wins specific to Union Township, and so wanted to make sure that I highlighted those. Again, every community partner that we work with, we try to make sure that we are actively engaging with businesses, but also looking for those stories that we can highlight to show that our communities and our municipalities across the board are places where great things are happening. And then lastly, on the next page, on page 24, we have a wonderful tribute to Jim McBride, and so I hope that you get a chance to read that. He will be dearly missed. I hope that I can continue to live up to his legacy and continue to do great things for the communities and people that we serve. But that is there for you to read. And then on the very final page, we do have our executive directors, which we do have representation for Charter Township of Union on our executive board. And then you are one of our key partners as we continue to do economic development work here in Middle Michigan. And so with that, I'll open it up to any questions. Additionally, I always like to throw out when I go and speak at events like this, that if there are ever any startups or companies that are here in this municipality that you want to make sure that I'm connecting with, if they've not connected with me before, please be sure to let Rodney know. He can make sure that they get connected to myself and to my team, because again, we're here to serve you all. And so that is something that I'm hoping as we move into this year we're able to do. Also this year, Rodney and I have already met a few times to talk about some things that we can additionally do. We're working through our list of businesses that we would like to go and visit with. We also have some funding for site development that we're trying to find the right fit for. But I'm excited for 2025. I think it's going to be a great year. And again, thank you so much for having me here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your questions? Rick?
Just a comment. You probably see it. I've been on the board for Middle Michigan for probably 30, years. But actually, I was interim president when one of the president retired or left. I can't remember who it was or what he did. But anyhow, I filled in for a bit, and all of us in business, we make some good decisions, we make some bad decisions. In all my life, I've had my share of both. But probably one of the best decisions we made was hiring Jim McBride. And Jim brought several years of affiliation in Lansing. And what we never really had in Middle Michigan at the time was to bring those connections and those resources of Lansing back up here. And he was able to do that. And the MMDC has been thriving since then. It's been bringing a lot of information, bringing a lot of resources, a lot of money back in this community, a lot of connections. And probably the next best decision about a year later is when Katie got hired. and it's a real long story, but we won't just get into that. Katie will. But anyhow, it was, and Katie, of course, worked with Jim, got feet wet, and then Jim got her down in Lansing too. So the connections that she's had has been tremendous. And unfortunately, when Jim passed away, Katie was able to hit the ground running, so it was a nonstop thing. I know our board met very shortly after that, and we were able to make a decision immediately so that's a good thing to have. You have the resources to back up, you know, so you have everything in place, and Katie's done a wonderful job, so thank you for what you've done.
Thanks, Rick. That means a lot. Thank you.
And I think I want to say, as far as your mission statement, the MMDC and the East DDA and the West DDA are very similar. So it's only a natural course of partnering, I guess, to keep this going forward. And I think this is already budgeted in our annual budget, right? No, definitely appreciate your work and your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're
Rick.
welcome.
Thank you.
And moving on to item 7, public comment. Have anybody online? Nobody? Well, let's move on to item 8, reports, accounts payable.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
I'll start out with the East DDA payables. The report shows 3 months. We have payables for you to approve for February, March, and April. February and March have been, the bills have been paid, but there wasn't a quorum for those 2 meetings. So we're looking for your approval today on those as well. So I'll start out with February. We had a payment to Consumers Energy for $1,134.30. And on February 18th, we had a payment to Black Electric to remove gateway banners in December. That was for $150. And also on February 18th, we had a payment to Johnny's Lawn Care for snow removal on the sidewalks in the East DDA for January. That was for $870.04. And then we also had another payment February 18th to MMI for $360, and that was for the grounds maintenance along Pickard around the park benches and to remove trash from the trash receptacles and things like that. That was for January. And then on March 4th, we had a payment to Consumers Energy for $977.27. That's for the streetlights along, the electric to the streetlights along Pickard. And then on 3/18, we had a payment to Johnny's Lawn Care again for snow removal in February. That was for $3,480.16. Quite a bit of snowfall in February. And then on April 3rd, for April, we had a payment to Consumers Energy for $852.43. And we have a check issued on 4/15 to Black Electric to install those spring banners in the East DDA for $150. And also, April 15th, we had a payment to Union Township for utility billing for, it says irrigation for Q1 for $172.59, but that's not actually for water, it's for a sewer charge that has to do with capital. And then we had a payment to MMI on 4/15 for, again, park, maintenance around the park benches and the grounds along Pickard. That would have been for March for $288. And then we had a payment to Strategic Value Media for $500, and that was for an ad in the Home Builders Magazine advertising Union Township. So we have a total accounts payable for the 3 months of $8,934.79 for the East DDA.
Move that we pay the East EDA bills as presented.
Support. And just to note, I'm not used to seeing 3 months of electrical bills.
Yeah.
It's interesting that
Interesting.
it drops down, I'm assuming because daylight,
Longer.
yeah,
Yep.
longer days. Just never seen it presented quite like this.
Yep. Good point.
Hearing no more comments, we got a motion by,
Just one quick one. Strategic value media, when we put that in our budget, that would go under community promotion?
That's correct.
any more comments? Hearing none, we have a motion by Zalid, support by Milky to approve these payables. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And motion is approved.
Okay, moving on to the West DDA accounts payable, again, 3 months. We just had a few checks. In February, we had one check to Johnny's Lawn Care for snow removal on the sidewalks along High Street, M20. $516.65 for January. And then on 3/18, we wrote a check to Johnny's Lawn Care for the same thing, snow removal along High Street. That was for February snowfall, and that was for $2,070.16. And then we have a check issued on April 15th to Strategic Value Media, and this is for the ad in the Home Builders Magazine for $500. That ad is split 50-50 between East and West DDA. So we have an accounts payable totaled for your approval of $3,086.81 for the 3 months for the West DDA.
Move that we approve the bills for the West EDA as presented.
Support.
We have motion by Zalid, support by Coin.
Yeah.
Any more comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And motion is approved.
Okay, now let's review your financials for the East DDA, beginning with your revenue and expenditure report. We're early in the year, so we don't have a lot posted or going on yet in the revenues and the expenditures. But you will notice that your interest earned is here for the 3 months, January through March. And also, the East DDA received some other revenue, just over $25,000. There was damage to a light pole in an car accident. So I'm sure there's something on order to get that put back up. And when you look at your expenditures, there's not a lot there. You're at less than 1% of budget, so there's not a lot to report. But all of your payables that you just approved are posted here in summary. And then looking at your balance sheet for the East DDA, you have assets of about $2.5 million, mostly in the form of cash. And then your ending fund balance is about $2.5 million. And then moving on to the West DDA.
Question.
Oh, sure.
on the title, certificate of deposit for $2.2 million, is that one certificate or is that a category of multiple certificates?
No, it's, I wanna say it's 3 or 4. I can't remember how many, but it's not just one. And I was able to get, last year I was able to get certificates of deposit around 5 to 6%. But this year, when we're renewing them this year, it's more like 4.25. So it's a little lower. And we took that into account in our budget numbers too, because we knew when we kind of had an idea that when we renewed these certificates this year, that the interest rate was going to be at least 0.5% lower. So we tried to account for that in our budget numbers. But it could be, who knows, as the year goes on, it could change.
What's your prediction?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Anybody's guess. Anybody's guess.
It'll be good. Give it time.
Yeah? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Are there any other questions on the East DDA before I move on? Okay. Okay, moving on to the West DDA. You'll see the same thing. The interest earned is posted for revenues, and a handful of expenditures there. So the budgets are very minimal. And then on your balance sheet, you have about 1.6 million in assets, and your ending fund balance is predicted to be 1.6 million, based on what's been entered so far. Any questions on West DDA? I know there's not a lot there this early in the year. If not, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
You sure?
So let's let the record show the financial reports were presented and filed. Looking at agenda item 8C for your review, the board member matrix. Go ahead.
Just a note on Jeff Sweet's seat, if you have somebody in mind, please encourage them to apply for the EDA. Ideally, they're either a business owner or resident of the districts.
Yep, good reminder.
Yep.
And moving on to agenda item 10, new business. We have proposed irrigation reinstallation plans. What do we got there, Rodney?
You do have in your packet a copy of the set of irrigation installation plans that were prepared by Jeff Graber from Graber and Associates. This is not anything that you need to take an action on, but I want to bring it to your attention, and certainly if you note anything or any comments on it, I'd be happy to share this back to Mr. Graber. This was simply to let you know that he did complete the plans. I've taken a look at them. We had our irrigation contractor take a look at an earlier draft of them, just make Mr. Graber's request to have make any comments from his perspective. I found the plans that you have in your packet to be in good order. I also did take the time to share them with our local MDOT office. I've received some very preliminary comments back that they are also found to be in good order. We're having conversations right now about what permitting might be required to reinstall the irrigation within the right of way, but there were no concerns expressed about being able to deal with any permitting requirements from their perspective. it would all be handled through their office locally. So with that in mind, as I said, if you have any thoughts or items that you have concerns about, I'd be interested in going to receive those comments. The next step in this process is it's basically for me to let Mr. Graber know that he can move forward with putting these out for bid. As you know, we did authorize him to both put these plans together, but also to pursue the bidding and bring back the results of the bid process to us for consideration. So that would be the next step if you're comfortable with the plans you have.
On the, I certainly couldn't understand hardly any of this. I know Jim Zal is probably out over this thing, but I think I guess it looks like a very thorough analysis and all his diagrams and everything. I think what we were looking for is when this gets presented, what are the options that we have? Is that what we're going to address? Because I think we weren't talking about just one project and get everything all done. It was like, what if we do just the sprinklers? What if we do the pots? What if we have some internet device that's going to control everything? I mean, there's different levels. And I think, that's what we were looking at, wasn't it? Just a few options.
Yeah,
But
like,
but we did that, actually. We had that conversation.
Maybe I missed it, but.
Yeah.
But I think that can be addressed in the bidding process.
I think we set up a general price range, didn't we?
Options, yeah.
As
Didn't
far
we set up a
as
price range of 400,000 or something like that? That was our
if you have,
ballpark.
I think you can, way it's often handled is you just break that out as either an option or you have unit prices for those options. And then when we get a chance to review the bids, we can say, okay, yeah, it's gonna cost for the drip, it's gonna cost X dollars extra. And then at that point, we can decide what options, and you'll have firm pricing. The other thing is typically, my recollection of the conversation, we can ask the design professional, how much are each of these gonna cost, but if you have bids right there in front of you and you compare hard numbers, then you can make and I think that's, in my mind, that's where we left it, is that,
So we're going to be able to have the options then.
If I may, because I want to, there may be some confusion, there may be some weren't here at
Yep.
various meetings, but Mr. Graber came, he gave his report, his recommendations to you, and this board ultimately chose to hire him and give him authorization to put the plans together.
Yep.
These plans there was discussion of options, and there was a motion made that authorized him to proceed with putting plans together and to go through the bidding process based on the discussion and consensus that was given direction back to him, which was essentially to put in a similar system to what was there. New controllers, there's obviously new technology on the controller side, there's some new technology in the sprinklers that he recommended, but this is not a drip irrigation system. This is the system would be similar to what was there, simply with the new features. But that was the direction this board already gave to Mr.
See,
Graber.
I missed that. So then,
Yep.
basically, it's going back to what it was before.
It's
Very
almost-
similar.
Yeah,
With
very
drip.
similar.
With
Drip and
No,
sprinkler.
no, there's,
You know,
this would be
no
sprinklers.
drips.
the sprinklers, drips.
The
And
street
then-
light, there would be the
That's what I
irrigation,
mean,
the
that's
street light.
drip.
Planters.
Okay,
That's the
so
only drip irrigation.
Okay.
that's
But
okay for
only-
me. I
yep.
just,
Yep.
that's why I got lost in it. So I missed that meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we decided the cost for the planters was gonna be
Yeah,
too
I
too
guess
exorbitant, and we
For-
did give that direction to say, yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want that option.
In my defense, that was at least 5 months ago.
It was a while.
I will say, if there is a desire to do something different, this is the moment to take a step back and have another conversation with.
No, I don't want to revisit that. It's-
So I have I don't know if you can answer this or not. There's a few spots in here where it talks about Hunter factory trained contractor. And Hunter is a manufacturer. But if we're going out for bids, do we not that seemed to me, at least, this is not knowing a lot about irrigation, but that seemed to limit potentially the number of responses we might see, because someone else might go with, I don't know, a water sense system or something. I don't even know if that's a brand or not. It is?
I,
Toro
Oh.
or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
would, I'll let Rodney speak of that, I already looked at it once.
This was the system that was recommended by Mr. Graber as being the appropriate system for our needs. It provided this particular brand and the system that he's proposed is what he recommended in his initial reports to us. And that was the direction back, given to him, was to follow that recommendation. So that's, I think, why you see that there, is that it's simply following that direction.
And I do have some recollection of that he had that in his original report.
Now, Hunter is obviously a huge brand. And,
Yeah.
And it's a fairly common one, so I would not be surprised if most installers are familiar with it.
T-Lens specialize in Hunter
Hunter?
too.
Okay.
They do both. I got them.
Yeah, I just tried to look it up, and there did seem to be some other certifications, some more broad. I looked at the EPA and what they recommend for certifications, and theirs wasn't necessarily Hunter. It could be Hunter or other brands that do training for their equipment. So I was just curious. And then on 3.11 lawn restoration, which is on page 33 in our packet. B says obtain township seed, sod, and topsoil specifications and complete work based on township requirements. Can we not provide what those requirements are ahead of time to let potential bidders know what those are going to be?
We can. Yeah,
Okay.
That's not on my list to
That's to
and
do.
I've already made that note. In reality, these are MDOT requirements, so it just simply will be following what MDOT requires within their right of way.
Yeah, it's there right away, so.
And they have, he's familiar with those, so that specification would be made in the end.
Okay, because
You mean what the dirt makeup is?
no, when they dig up grass and restoring that sod, et cetera, is kind of what I got from this section. What are the requirements to be considered restored properly?
Do they seed it, or do
Yeah, they
they?
typically
seed it and
typically
everything?
hydroseed it, or seed it, protect it.
Yeah, it's just that the RFP says meet township requirements, and I'm like, well, why don't we just state those then? But you're right, it probably should say what DOT requirements.
Yeah, that's basically what a lot of municipalities do, they're switched over to use MDOT spec.
We don't have a lot to say with it, because it's their right of way,
Yeah,
Right,
but we,
meet or
about-
exceed.
yeah, I'm sure we can exceed it, they won't mind.
Everything you guys ask, far as like Rick, you're talking about, we still do value engineering once we get numbers in. Most of the specification questions are caught during what's called the submittal shop drawing review process. And as long as we have a professional designer on board, he's the one that confirms that indeed the meeting spec, such as the township seeding requirements, fertilization, installation, air testing, there'll be all kinds of areas we'll catch once we award the job, and we still have the design engineers on board. So, I mean, I think this looks like a very thorough set of drawings. I mean, I'd recommend you guys continue shipping this out.
Oh, yeah. Probably the one thing that I go over with a fine tooth comb, I mean, those are very detailed plans, so assuming they're gonna, but it would be nice to have a set of as-built when we're all done.
I believe,
Yeah,
I believe
we
that's
did.
part of
That's a
the
requirement.
We
for
did
the
put that in.
contractor, and, that, if I'm here to approve the final payment, I'm gonna wanna see those before we address that.
That's actually part of our service agreement with Mr. Graber, is that he has to have those actually.
But, yeah, those, very well pleased with what I saw in the package. Need a motion, yeah?
We don't need to take any action.
Yeah, we actually
No
don't
action?
need a motion, it's just.
We've already made the motion.
Do we,
So
Are
just,
we going out for bids?
But I guess if you'd like to make a motion related to that, you can, but we've already authorized Mr. Graber to go out for bids. We just, all
Okay.
he needed from me was to
I was
verify
just,
that we're okay.
that's why I asked the question, if it's already set in motion, then great,
yeah, continue.
yes,
Thank you.
time of the year to do it. Have you talked to him, his figures 3-4 weeks to advertise and get bids, or
I
any
would say-
chance we'd have it for the next meeting?
I would say yes. I believe we can, at that time, we should work, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So moving on, 10B, we got discussion of accomplishments, projects, desired outcomes to share with the trustees on tomorrow's joint meeting. What do we got there?
So you have in your packet a copy of the, let's call it the draft report. It doesn't say draft on it, but this is our first take at a 2024 annual synopsis of activities of our two DDA districts. This report, as you may recall, is submitted to the state of Michigan. It's due at the end of June. So we would make sure you had it in your hands for this meeting and for our joint boards and commissions meeting tomorrow. This simply outlines our activities for 2024. It follows Public Act 57, the state act that we are governed by in terms of what is shown in it. You see all of our various current contracts. On page 3 of the report, page 36 of your packet, we have a few new items in there. That's we have Gordy Fraser and Malley Construction and Graber and Associates as 3 new contractors. I'll just make mention while I'm here. You'll note the discussion about Malley Construction for the sidewalk on Bud Street, and unfortunately that project, although everybody said we had the road right of way there, we have run into a surveying oddity in that space related to Bud Street, and we are working on solutions to that. I'll talk a little bit more about that under director comments, give you a little bit more background on that. But Malley Construction is still the contract for that project if we can resolve the questions about right of way. In addition to that, on page 37 of the packet, next page of the report, page 4, under projects and investments, item C, you'll see planning for design, printing, installation, and replacement of welcome banners. These are the gateway banners. The permanent gateway banners at the US 127 interchange have simply reached the end of their design lifetime. We noted last year that they were fading, beginning of last year, and at the end of last year, one decided that it had enough, and wind took it down. It came apart, and so we did have replacement banners printed. These are the permanent banners. So the 4 permanent banners on each display are, if you go out there and see, they're all brand new. We use the same design. We worked with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, who did the original design for these, with one exception, and that was the Union Township banner has one change to it that I'll let you go see. I won't mention it, but it had one slight change to that banner. But anyway, the new banners are up. I've been having conversations with the Convention and Visitors Bureau about the seasonal banners, some of which are also some leased or wind burned. They're beginning to get faded as well, especially the summer and the winter ones, because they tend to be up the longest. So we're having conversations about what we're going to do with those, and there are a number of ideas. There's no firm decisions on any changes in design or anything for those. But there are funds budgeted to also replace those. So that change has happened with the permanent banners. I think if you turn to page 39 of the packet, page 6 of the report, under events and promotions, I just mentioned, it was asked earlier about the ad in the Michigan Builder magazine, and it's just noted here that we have 2 advertisements that we do. Every year we put in a full-page ad in the Chamber of Commerce directory, and that has a very prominent placement in front of the directory, and it has our gateway banners as part of that image. And then in addition to that, for last year, first time this year for the second year, we are putting an ad in the summer edition of the Michigan Builder magazine. And this one is a promotion to the development community, the builder community, to invite them to look at our community for projects in this area. So it was, so we're doing a second year with this one, and we'll decide where we want to go with it in the future. Both of those ads are available, they're posted on our website, so you can actually see them under the business section of the website, community information business. And you see both of those. Those are the highlights of the report for last year. I'm happy to answer your questions, but other than that, this item is really about tomorrow night's meeting. Tomorrow night we have our annual joint meeting of all the boards and commissions, and so this item has been included to really give an opportunity for discussion about what the board might like to highlight, because this is your meeting, the joint meeting, so all of the boards and commission members. So I'll leave that to you, unless there's any questions about this 2024 annual report.
When will this be posted on the website?
Well, if you're comfortable with it, we can actually go ahead and post it any time. It's sent to the state of Michigan as well, but the report is actually due at the end of June. But as long as you're comfortable with it, we'll post it right away.
Yeah. Sure. That's my report for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go to the website.
Take those.
Yeah, it's all done.
So if I may?
Go ahead.
So the meeting tomorrow, 6 o'clock at Jameson Hall. This meeting that we annually have of the joint boards typically used to be in August, but we moved it up into April, and the primary reason we moved it up into April is so that we could hear from all of you, because you're invested residents of the township, and the board does want to hear reports. It's a great opportunity to learn about what the other boards are doing, other things that are going on in the community. But I know a focus of the Board of Trustees is to hear from all of you where you want to see the township be, because we want to be able to begin that budgeting process and looking at priorities for 2026. So we encourage not just what's been done in the past year, but what you want to see moving forward. So I hope you come.
Good point.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep. Oh, good comment. So it looks like our next regular meeting's Tuesday, May 20th. Hope it's everybody here. And do we have anything else for the good of the order?
Before we jump, I have some director comments.
Okay.
I think you're letting your Chair. I'm thinking you're letting your fellow board members off easy for your responsibility tomorrow night. but that's okay. Under director comments, I did want to give you a little bit more information on Bud Street, on the sidewalk. Our surveyor discovered essentially that there was a very old surveying error that happens to coincide with the Bud Street right-of-way. That may be why Bud Street is where it is, in fact. I kind of have a suspicion that was essentially paved over this error by putting Bud Street there. The land in that area was surveyed from both directions, and the competing surveys basically met where the Bud Street right-of-way is. And unfortunately, the competing survey, and this goes back, who knows how long, we've done done the research, title search to go way back, but this apparently goes way back, that these two competing surveys had survey points from to the east and to the west, met here, but they didn't meet evenly. There was a kind of a regular, very, very thin triangular shaped gap between the surveys. And that gap coincides with where Bud Street is. And the road commission says there's a 66-foot wide right-of-way measured from the west that they call their right-of-way. But there is also a 66-foot wide right-of-way indicated on all the properties on the east side that those properties also abut against that 66-foot wide right-of-way. The end result is actually what right-of-way that is varies in width, but is more than 66 feet wide. The two essentially overlap. But the road commission only recognizes the right-of-way from the west, and our sidewalk is on the east side because that's where the park is, and that's where it's easiest to install the sidewalk. There's also there's a couple warehouse buildings on the west side that encroach into the right-of-way and install a sidewalk through that side challenging. I'd hoped I might be able to solve it with some help from our township attorneys. I asked him for his opinion, provided him with all the background information, all the deeds, all the surveys, and he indicated that while there is, I think he said, low risk related to putting our sidewalk in the space that the road commission says is not right of way. He says there is no risk, and the challenge we've had is our contractor is not comfortable with installing the sidewalk unless they are certain that they're doing it within the space that's allowed to be there. The right of way is what it is. So, with that in mind,
Interesting take, he works for us, so. It's not like we're gonna pay him.
yeah.
Wouldn't you accept a low risk and then have the township take the liability? I mean, can we do that?
Yeah, so the meeting I had with the attorney today, and we got an evaluation not very long ago related to this, and he went very carefully through all the details. He recommended several options. We're now going to be looking at those options. One of those options may be to invite you to consider a closed session to talk about perhaps some property acquisition. That's one of the ways to solve this problem. But anyway, so we're looking at the options, and I will have more for you there. I just wanted to give you the update that we'll continue to argue with this one.
So just, because this is what I do, so I'm gonna ask a more specific question. So the two surveys, they overlap, or there's a no man's land? There's a gap.
There's a gap. Yeah.
So the question is who are we gonna buy the gap from?
Essentially, and that is one of free.
Right.
It looks like free grant, homestead, let's,
So and that was one of the suggestions, was to do the title search,
Yeah.
to go all the way back and find who owned the gap back originally, who actually owned that land
Yeah.
originally, and then we have to walk it back forward to who owns it now from that. That's one of the ways to get this done. There are a couple others, we're looking at those, and I'll have more for you next month.
Okay, thank you for the update, that was interesting.
Yeah. This one, we really thought this was easy. We had the right of way, Bud Street's right there, the right of way's there. These are platted lots, and if it's right of way in our community, it can't be easy, apparently. But anyway, I'll have more for next month on that one. I mentioned the gateway banners. The other item that we do have a request for bids out, and that is related to our park benches and trash receptacles. You may recall, prior to COVID, from 2018 or so, our park benches and trash receptacles were refreshed, and apparently as part of that, the slats were reversed. They weren't replaced, but they were reversed and put the good side out, apparently. Well, the good side is now not the good side anymore. We have several benches where the slats have broken, and almost all the cases, they are faded, sun-bleached, and become brittle. And so it has become time to look at refreshing them again. And so we do have bids out. They're due at the end of the month, and so you can expect to see something on the May agenda related to that.
Are these wood slats?
They are not.
Plastic.
They are not?
No, they're
Plastic.
They're plastic. Yeah.
Plastic.
Been there a long time now, haven't
They have.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the COVID discussion, I forget who stepped forward and on their own basically refurbish them, so.
Yeah, it was a local gentleman apparently that did it before, not available to do it this time, as I understand. So we'll see who puts bid in for that.
Ben Gunning.
Gunning.
Ben Gunning.
Yeah.
Ask Ben to do it.
Best Ben, see if he wants.
That was his big deal.
Well, that's all I have. So if there are any questions on any of those, I'm happy to answer.
No, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rodney. So I'll ask again, any more comments or questions? Hearing none, I guess we can call the meeting adjourned, 5:26. Thank you.
Anybody need chicken barbecue chicken?